Hello everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Am I the Asshole? If you're a fan of hearing Reddit anecdotes, it would really support the channel if you could give it a like or subscribe. Without further ado, let's dive into our first story. Am I the asshole for telling my sister that she is insane for not teaching her daughter English? My two-female family is originally from Sweden. My sister Kristen, 30 female, was born in Sweden and was raised speaking Swedish and English. She and my parents came to the US when she was 10, and I was born not long afterwards. I was raised only speaking English. My parents did not bother having me learn Swedish because it isn't a widely spoken language where we live. And in fact, when I was little, they had a rule that Kristen could only talk to me in English. They did this because they didn't want to hinder me being able to communicate with my peers. I visited Sweden maybe twice when I was really little and don't have any recollections. Kristen, however, has a lot of fond memories from her childhood. Since she's moved out, she has regularly visited Sweden. She has been married to her husband, Eric, 30 male, for about 3 years. Eric is also from Sweden and came to the US in his early 20s. Eric was also raised speaking Swedish and English, but is more comfortable talking in Swedish. They have a daughter, Elsa, who 18 months old and learning to talk. When they came over for Christmas dinner, I tried to talk to Elsa, but Kristen told me that I can only talk to Elsa in Swedish, but not English. I thought she was raising Elsa speaking both Swedish and English, but she told me that they are not going to bother teaching her English. I asked why, and Kristen told me that they want Elsa to be connected to her heritage, and also because they plan on eventually moving back to Sweden. I asked if she had idea as to when they will move, and she said it could be 1 year or 10 years. I told Kristen that she is doing Elsa a big disservice by not teaching her English. She told me it won't be an issue, as she'll learn it when she goes to kindergarten. I said that I can understand wanting Elsa to know Swedish, and if they had any immediate plans to move back to Sweden, then I could understand prioritizing Swedish over English. But since they don't have any immediate plans to move back there, she should learn both languages now, so she can communicate with her English-speaking relatives in the US, as well as her peers and her teachers when she goes to school. I said that not teaching Elsa any English at all is insane. Kristen got mad at me and told me I am being xenophobic. I told her this would not be an issue if Elsa speaks English too, but because almost nobody around here speaks Swedish, she's hindering her daughter. She said that it's possible that by the time Elsa is ready to start school, they might have moved back to Sweden. My parents are mostly on my side, but say that they understand why she's doing this. And I was being harsh by saying that she was insane for not teaching her English and should be more understanding. I feel it is equally harsh for her to say I'm xenophobic. I think it's great to be multilingual, but one needs to be able to communicate with the majority of the people where they live. But now I'm starting to feel like maybe I was too harsh. Not the asshole. They live in the US, but they might move back to Sweden. So they're not teaching their daughter English. That's actually pretty dangerous. For example, what happens if Elsa gets lost and she can't understand when people ask her where her parents are, nor could she tell anyone who they are? Every little kid gets lost at some point in their lives, so this is not an unlikely scenario. In an emergency, how would, say, 3-year-old Elsa be able to tell anyone? I also have a good friend from Sweden, and she speaks 8 languages. According to her, English is a required subject in school in Sweden. So Elsa would actually be behind other kids who may have been speaking and or understanding English their whole lives. It is. Mom's Japanese and I'm half. One of my kindergarten classmates was Japanese and barely spoke any English. Her family had recently moved to the States. One day, she couldn't stop crying and curled up in a ball. No one could understand what was wrong. I spoke some Japanese, but not enough to translate hysterically sobbing kid. All I could get was that her stomach area hurt, but I couldn't get what happened. School couldn't get in touch with her parents, so they called my mom. Turns out she had sudden and intense right-sided pain. Mom was able to get in touch with her parents, get communication going, and they got her to the hospital. It was her appendix. She got it taken out, all ended well. If Mom hadn't been available to translate, she'd have been in pain for much longer, and she would have been in a worse situation at the hospital. No one could figure out if she was in pain, upset, if someone hit her, or if she was sick. Both your parents and Kristen are crazy. Teach your kids as many languages as you can at the age when learning languages is free. The more you know, the better. Numerous studies have shown a minor delay in the early grades and then a great boost in later years. Yeah, it's absolutely screwed up that Kristen wasn't allowed to speak the language of a country that she lived in for 10 years. And I think that's probably a big contributor to why she's doing this. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the Books? I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.